Well, hello again, everybody out there in Radio Land, YouTube Land, worldwide and locally. This is the Midnight Skeptic, and it's Wednesday, the 28th of August. Okay, and this will be broadcast on Sunday night, September 1st. Actually, boy, this year is going by rather fast. And it's going to be broadcast at 103.3 FM locally, meaning Sonoma County, California. And then I'm going to get this up on YouTube as soon as I get done recording my rant. And then kpca.fm will get you this rant. And I guess other shows on from the Petaluma Community Access radio station, of which I think, the last remaining original member. It's about 7 years ago that we started this, and here I am. The other DJs have kind of gone by the wayside. And as I've said before, and I'll say it this time too, the goal of this broadcast, among other things, this isn't the only goal, but is to rid this country of all MAGA heads, Christian conservative nationalists, MAGA heads, worshipers of the orange sociopathic bloat bag, and this is, my efforts in my own small way to help the Kamala Harris and Tim Walz campaign. And it's about November 5th is, how many days? About 60 some odd days until the election. Boy, it's right around the corner now. Okay, I want to say a few things about the election that's coming up November 5th. Please, just get out and vote. The more people that vote, the more likely it is that the orange sociopathic bloat bag and his lapdog Vancy will lose. I'm very optimistic about this upcoming election. And the orange sociopathic bloat bag in the 2020 election lost. Yes, that's right. He lost by about 8 million votes. He'll never admit that. His ego won't let him. And now that the two teams, the orange sociopathic bloat bag and Vancy versus Kamala Harris, a classy lady, and Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, who is a truly good man and should be considered America's dad. The debate is coming up on the 10th of September. Kamala Harris is going to wipe the floor with him if he even shows up. He's starting to weasel his way out of it right now. Okay? All right. Today, the day that I'm actually doing this recording is Wednesday, the 28th. Did I say this already? Maybe. Okay, it's about 4:20, and I've noticed I get some of my information, not much, but some of it from Quora Digest, Quora. And I've noticed for a couple of years now that the people that send in questions to Quora Digest have become more and more right-wing orange sociopathic bloat bag followers and Christian fundamentalists. they send in questions like, uh, why do Democrats deny the existence of God? Okay, why were there no specific writings about Jesus in Roman literature? Things like that. What does 1 Corinthians 14:12 actually mean? Things like that. And as a consequence, I don't pay any attention to those really, but occasionally there's, an honest question about some historical happening, like Civil War things, which I tend to kind of ignore also because they're just the people that send in those questions are just unknowledgeable about the Civil War in general, and then also World War II. And why doesn't the Sherman tank outperform the German Panzer tank, or things like that? I just skip past it when I see questions like that. Okay. Okay. I've told all my listeners and watchers that I'm always going to have a book recommendation, and not necessarily books that I've read, but ones that have been brought to my attention by knowledgeable people. And I'm going to send it on to my listeners out there. Okay, here's the start of the show with a book recommendation. The Longest Con, C-O-N, colon, How Grifters, Swindlers, and Frauds, plural, Hijacked American Conservatism by Joe Conason, capital C-O-N-A-S-O-N. And his thesis of the book, which is in the title of it, I've agreed with and thought for a long time now. When I first registered to vote, I was registered to vote as a Republican, and I still am. And originally, Republicans had actual ideas and political opinions that could be discussed and debated. And originally, I was kind of a fan of William F. Buckley, and that was in my early formative years, just like some conservatives worship Ayn Rand. But after a few years went by, I came to the realization that William F. Buckley was an out-and-out racist. And, anybody want to buy my book, God and Man at Yale? That was his first one. But anyway, I digress a lot. William F. Buckley is not my favorite guy anymore, but conservatism has been hijacked by the guys that Joe Conason has mentioned. Grifters, swindlers, frauds, and on and on and on. They have taken over not just conservatism, but the whole Republican Party, and especially the orange sociopathic bloat bag has taken over some void in the lives of MAGA heads. They needed somebody to worship, and I guess Jesus wasn't cutting it for them. I don't know what kind of needs that the orange sociopathic bloat bag fills in their bleak lives, but you see them at the rallies for the orange sociopathic bloat bag. He makes no sense when he rambles on, but whatever he rambles on about, they seem to eat it up, and they seem to enjoy wearing their costumes with American flags made into windbreakers and their stupid-ass cowboy hats with American flags all over it and holding up signs. Trump won. Anyway, okay, so much for the book review. Not review, but a recommendation. Bad electoral news via the GOP. The Arizona GOP and the Republican National Committee want the Supreme Court of the United States, SCOTUS, to block 40,000 registered voters from casting ballots this November 5th. Proof of citizenship is the issue here. Arizona Secretary of State said there is no evidence of fraud and undocumented voters voting. There never is evidence of massive voter fraud, ballot box stuffing or drop box stuffing or harvesting ballots illegally. Those are it's made up BS by the MAGA heads who just want their idol to get back into the White House. Okay? Well, there's 40,000 registered voters that have been wiped off the voter registers, and they're not going to be being able to be voters if the SCOTUS agrees with the Republican National Committee. Okay, new topic. A good news quote from Imane Khalif, the Olympic gold medalist in women's boxing in the Paris Olympics this year. She quotes, this is a quote from her, "My message to the wide world is that they should not bully people. I hope people will stop bullying and commit to the Olympic Charter." Khalif fought in Tokyo 4 years ago with no problems. In fact, she lost her second bout, and she was out of the running for the gold medal. And of course, the right-wingers and the MAGA heads here in this country, I'm having a brain freeze on the female troll that just went off on Imane Khalif, calling her a man. And she's not. She's lived her whole life as a woman. She was born a woman. She was assigned female at birth. Anyway, not important. Bad news. On October 6th, 1536, William Tyndale, capital Tyndale, was burnt alive at the stake. What was his sin? And it was the Catholic Church that did this to him. He translated the Bible into the English vernacular. The Catholic Church. Somebody ought to ask their priest if there's any Catholics listening to this, and I don't imagine there's many because of my feelings about religion in general. All religions are bad for humanity, are misogynistic, are the cause deep down for violence and wars. Okay. But anyway, any Catholics listening to this, ask your priest about this. The date was October 6th, 1536. The guy's name was William Tyndale. Okay? I guess, reading the Bible in your own language, English, German, Dutch, Polish, was a sin. Okay, Arizona update. The SCOTUS ruled 5-4 on Thursday, August 22nd, for Republicans. The majority of the Supreme Court justices are essentially Republican stooges anyway. Okay, proof of citizenship is now required to register to vote. Non-citizens voting is extremely rare, despite the orange sociopathic bloat bags whining about it. The Brennan Center for Justice, which is it's associated with some college, and I'm not sure which one. I think USC or UCLA. They are an academic outfit, and they research voting patterns and attempts to suppress the vote, which Republicans do. And they came out with this. Voting, non-citizen voting, is extremely rare, according to them. And in the 2020 election was so rare that there's no way that the few hundred people that maybe voted illegally could not have swayed the election. Okay. Good news. Okay, I said this on last week's show to end the show, but it's worth repeating again because it upsets Republicans. At the UK's Payton Zoo, Paign, I'm not sure exactly how that would be pronounced. Payton Zoo in southwest England, 2 male flamingos have paired up to hatch and raise a flamingo chick. And their names are Arthur and Curtis. They feed and groom the little chick, which hasn't been named yet. They'll come up with one soon. The two males' pairings is rare, the zookeeper said, but not unexpected. Okay, one thing that actually 2 things I've forgotten to do. This is kind of a disorganized show, but I forgot my play in music, and here it is. You are listening to KPCA LP, Petaluma, California, at 103.3 FM and worldwide at www.kpca.fm. And this is the Midnight Skeptic. The views of the Midnight Skeptic are not necessarily the views of KPCA or any of its affiliates. Okay, the second thing that I forgot to do was my shout-outs, and I'll try to zip through it as quick as possible so I can get to the meat of the show or get back to the meat of the show. I've already said a couple of segments that I have in my notes. Okay. Project Censored. Congratulations to Mickey Huff, one of the 3 dudes that keep it going. All 3 dudes are history professors, And Mickey Huff just got awarded an appointment at. See, without my notes, I am nothing without my notes. College back east near Cornell, Ithaca. He is appointed a professor of communications and at Ithaca. Now, I don't know whether he's going to have to move back there or not with his wife and 2 kids. Okay. Mickey Huff, and go on their website and sign up for their newsletter and order their upcoming book, The State of the Free Press, 2025. Okay. And John Crowley, who puts on events, and in 2 more weeks, he's going to have another dinner for retired educators. And I'm a retired educator, or sort of, except that maybe I'll get back into it because I'm a private tutor. And some of my fondest memories of educating the youth around here was during my private tutoring sessions. Okay, and I did it for about 35 years, beginning in 1970, around there, give or take a couple of years. And then when my wife and I moved into this house, I'm doing this broadcast from the room that I used to do my private tutoring in. And it kind of ended with the COVID-19 outbreak. And okay, enough of that. I ran into Rabbi Ted in Safeway, and he's retired, but he was the rabbi at B'nai Israel. My wife was Jewish, and I am nothing, as everybody has been informed, and including Rabbi Ted, and he has called me his favorite pagan, and a title that I wear proudly. But anyway, my wife and I used to go to various events at the B'nai Israel temple, and I became somewhat knowledgeable about Jewish practices and events and beliefs. Yeah, I don't agree with any of them. And I think they're equally as silly and unproven as any Christian or Islamic or Hindu belief or any of the others. Okay, enough of that. Let's see. Tom Gaffey at the Phoenix Theater. They play grunge and metal music on the weekends. Usually it's that genre. So if you're into that, go on their website and see what their schedule is. Okay, Ralph Scott, who is, his business is recording books. And at the request of authors of novels and audiobooks, is the technical name of it. Okay, and okay. Locally, I'm going to zip through this, and if I forget some of the names, so sue me. An old Jewish joke. Dave and Rosie Takach in Sacramento, Kevin and Lori in Katati. Thank you for having me up for dinner last night. Rich and Kathy Berger in Sebastopol. Dennis and Megan in Tiburon. And Stan and Kathy. Stan is retired city attorney of Petaluma. Not Petaluma, Daly City. Wow. And Yvonne and Rick in San Francisco. Enjoy your vacation down in Mexico with Kevin and Lori. You guys are flying down there next weekend or this coming weekend, and enjoy your timeshare and your beach hanging out. Okay. Aunt Jackie in L.A. and Samantha and her husband and little boy, and Melanie, who now lives in Austin, Texas, and up to Arkansas, Shannon Reed, and then down to Florida, Nelson and Alice Lydell. He's retired U.S. Public Health Department, Public Health Service, and his specialty was breathing masks and breathing apparatuses. And over on the other side of Florida, Amelia Beamer, you can catch her on YouTube. She tells you what the Locus magazine, Locus, is going to be reviewing this month of novels or short story collections in the genres of horror, fantasy, and science fiction. Okay. And then further up the coast to the Raleigh-Durham area, Dr. Dave, the world's finest pulmonary doctor, retired. Actually, he retired from GlaxoSmithKline. He set up a lot of studies, medical studies, to see, well, what medicines work, which don't, which have unacceptable side effects. That was what he did for him. And he is now practicing his art, and you ought to check him out, davidrubinpainting.com, I think. Anyway, and further on up, Geraldine Goldfinger on Long Island, and then back to the West Coast, here in California, up in the mountains, in Sonora specifically. Robert Finnegan, Bob and Sandy Fisher and their two children, Martha and Brad, Dara Larson, Judy May, Kathy Francis, Lynn Quayle, and then further up Highway 108 to Twain Hart, John Gleason and his two daughters, Tiffany and Jennifer. And I'm not sure where they live now or what they're doing now. I got to get back in touch with them somehow. But they listened occasionally. And then all the way down in Mexico City, Rosie Lopez Negrete. All right, and that's it for the shout-outs. Let's get back to the meat of the show. All right. Okay. A recommendation, a music recommendation. Okay. I mentioned Emma Koch last show. K-O-K is her last name. And she's recently, or one of her songs has recently just went viral. She was singing with the Andre Rieu Orchestra in Maastricht, Netherlands. She's Dutch. And she won the Voice Kids, which is a unknown singers come on this show. It's kind of like America's Got Talent, but for kids in the Netherlands. But she won a couple of years ago. And then she started singing in front of the Andre Rieu Orchestra. And what I recommended on last week's show was the song Voila. And you really, really ought to check that out. And she was 15 when she sung this song, Voila. Well, she's 16 now. And I've got a new one for you, Dancing on the Stars. And it's a Demi Lovato song. Oh, God. Okay, I've blown it already. It wasn't written by Demi Lovato. She won the dancing. Damn it. She won the Kids' Voice in Netherlands by singing Warrior by Demi Lovato. My notes are screwed up. Okay. And she has a very terrible condition called gastroparesis. Her stomach is paralyzed, and she has to carry around a feeding apparatus. And she gets her food through a little tube that goes directly into, it's said online, her stomach, but maybe it's directly into her small intestine. I don't really know, but she has a little, very, very short segment online called Girl Dinner. She holds up two of her feeding apparatuses. I guess she has to have a backup one in case one of them fails. She spends most of her day, 22 hours of it, hooked up to this tube and the feeding apparatus. But anyway, girl dinner. I mean, she goes on, but you can check that out too. She's a very brave girl who seems to have not necessarily accepted, but has come to terms with her very debilitating disease that she has. Well, she's not debilitated. Okay, enough about Emma Koch. K-O-K. So she's going on a worldwide tour with the Andre Rieu Orchestra. I mean, over here in Mexico and Central America, and all over Europe too. I assume that they're going to be filmed and put online. But anyway, check her out. I highly recommend it. Okay. Good news things I forgot to mention from last week's show. Well, now it's 2 weeks ago because I ran out of time and didn't go through this segment. Okay. Oh, the troll, the Bitch that I was trying to remember her name, who really went off on the Algerian female boxer, calling her a man, and just being a jerk in general. Her name was Megyn Kelly, and she was on Fox News. That's the only place that a troll like her could, make a decent living. Anyway, Megyn Kelly, I'm reading from my notes. Megyn Kelly is part of the anti-trans hate machine, even though the athlete she was railing against is not transgender. She was going off on Imani Khalif, the name of the Algerian boxer, strictly on her looks. Well, she does look vaguely masculine. And anyway, the other Fox News idiots were also going off on her in their ignorance and their immersion in right-wing hate. Okay, my notes are jumbled. Whew. Okay. Oh, the orange sociopathic bloat bag and Vancy the lapdog, they've come up. Well, they didn't come up with it, but they don't have that kind of imagination. But their uh, aides and associates and in their hate group who write speeches and figure out sayings for them have come up with Tampon Tim for Tim Walz, Governor Tim Walz. And Megyn Kelly jumped on the bandwagon, of course. And the fact is, in high schools, there's a gym for boys, and if they can afford it, a separate gym for girls and separate locker rooms and for boys and girls. Well, there's usually a varsity and a junior varsity, and sometimes even a freshman team like basketball or sometimes football, or in the case of girls, the varsity soccer team or junior varsity. Well, sometimes it gets kind of crowded, and the girls' teams, the junior varsity or sometimes the freshman team, have to have a space to change as well. So they use the boys' locker room. That's why Governor Tim Walz signed an executive order or a law putting tampon dispensers in all of the locker rooms. Well, of course, the right-wing ignorant nuts went off on this and saying, why did Governor Walz put tampon dispensers in the boys' locker room? This fits in with the gender confusion and wah, 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 wah. They went off. And that's the reason why tampon distributors are also in boys' locker rooms. Wake up to the 21st century, GOP MAGA heads. Did I say I hope you all lose this November? If I didn't, then I'm saying it now. All right. Good news. Amit Elor. She's 20, age 20, and she's from Walnut Creek, California. That's right across the bay from Petaluma here. Won gold in women's wrestling in her weight class. I'm not sure what her weight class is. In the Paris Olympics. Well, she became sort of famous for this, and she's taken advantage of it. That's great. She's online all the time now, posting little things that she's doing, and she's got a lot of followers now. And I applaud her for being able to monetize her fame. And she's gearing up for the 2028 Olympics down in LA. I'm looking forward to seeing her wrestle down there, along with all the other female wrestlers. All right. That's Nick coming downstairs. Hey, Nick. Hey. Good news. Journalist Rose Ethelets. Wait a minute. Ineleths. God. Okay. I'll spell her name because I botched it here in my notes. ENELETH''S. Her podcast, Tested, and it's the history of gender testing in elite sports. It's a 6-part podcast, and she goes into the hubbub that the right-wingers in this country caused Imani Khalif. And also, who they were griping about was Taiwanese boxer Lin Yu Ting. And she, I don't know whether she won gold or not, but she was in the 57 kilogram boxing classification, which translates to the 126 pound. And the IBA, International Boxing Association, which has nothing to do with the Olympics now, disqualified both of them in the World Championships of women's boxing last year because of some unspecified tests that they both failed, according to Russia, who is the main sponsor of the IBA. Okay. Okay. I'll just end that little segment that it is very messy to categorize human beings into neat categories. Right-wingers love this, especially Christians. One love to categorize people into Christians, non-Christians, sinners, non-sinners. They just... don't get me started on Christianity. You know how I feel about it. Oh, God, I've got to get going now. This is an extremely stupid quote from Governor Sarah Huckabee of Arkansas. She is, okay, I'm going to say this right now. She is the stupidest governor in the United States. Okay, this is a quote from her. We will make sure that when a kid is in the womb, they are as safe as they are in a classroom. Oh. Okay, I've got to cut ahead here. You know, I got started reading or paying attention to last week's notes. Oh, God. So I'm going to have to speed up a little bit. Damn. One of these days, I'm going to get organized, and it won't be tomorrow. Okay, voting. Oh, okay, here we go. Stupid news from Tennessee. Is there any other kind? Okay, a 10-year-old kid, he's male, pointed a finger gun at someone. I'm not sure if it was a teacher or a principal or someone at East Tennessee Public Elementary School. The school called his mom, Belle, that is her name, Belle, to let her know he had been sent to the office. After an investigation, the fifth grader was suspended for a year. Boy, Tennessee sure is the leading edge against gun violence. Ha ha. Okay, Republican puppets of the NRA can now point to this as evidence that we're doing something about gun violence. The new law that went into effect only months earlier penalizes students who make threats at school. This law is in response to the Covenant School shooting in Nashville, where 6 kids were killed. In a letter to the mom, the principal wrote, quote, "I regret that it has come to this," unquote. You have no regrets whatsoever. You're just too stupid to not do it. Okay? Being sent to the principal's office, maybe. Warning the kid that guns are not acceptable, maybe. But a year's suspension? Ugh. Nobody has been made safer by this overreaction. Like all GOP laws, it is only window dressing and a big diversion from the real issue. The law, of course, will be disproportionately applied to kids of color. It always is. Okay, bad news. And people will make fun of California for this. And I'm making fun of California, at least a school district in California. I've always been a skeptic of ESP, psychics, alternative medicine, and things of that nature, UFOs, crop circles, and all that bull pucky. Okay, but, oh man. The Huisman School District in Mountain View, California, they're just down south a little ways from here, has for a few years been paying Alicia Diggs-Chavez company, her company, Blue Violet Energy Healing. Energy healing? Oh, Jesus. Okay. And she also uses sacred geometry to help administrators with their stress levels and with their progression in mindfulness. Oh, but some parents have caught on to this, and teachers are welcome to come to these sessions if they feel the need for her services. A group of parents in the district noticed the school board approval of $600,000 for the district leadership team to receive 160 guided meditation sessions with Ms. Diggs-Chavez Company in Sacramento. That's where her company is located. Energy healing. What the F is that? Whatever it is, it's bogus. Take the word of the Midnight Skeptic. Ugh. Okay, kind of silly news. The Sunrise Movement, which is a good thing, really, an organization of young climate activists, are phone banking and door knocking for Kamala Harris. That's good. But won't give her and Tim Walz their endorsement. They are awaiting more concrete details of what her environmental positions are. I think within Sunrise Movement, there's a leadership that wants to wield political power and get known as, I don't know, get famous, more famous. That stuff is at work here. The Sunrise Movement was founded in 2017. Publicity in 2018, shortly after their founding, with a sit-in at Nancy Pelosi's office back in D.C., along with AOC, Ocasio-Cortez. God, what does the A stand for? I'm having a brain freeze. I hate them. They were all demanding a New Deal. And they helped the Biden administration launch the Climate Corps, the American Climate Corps, the ACC. Damn, I really can't remember what the A in the AOC stands for. Ocasio-Cortez. I love her. Alexandria. Whew. Damn, this always happens. It probably usually would have happened after I've ended the broadcast. It would pop into my mind. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Okay. And the Sunrise Movement. Support these kids. But really, just give your endorsement to the Kamala Harris and Tim Walz people. How? Okay, I've got to make a run to the end here. Environmental and MAGA. Bad news. Isn't MAGA always bad news? Okay, Republicans, of course, in 24 states asked the Supreme Court, SCOTUS, Tuesday the 27th, that's yesterday, to halt a Biden administration effort to reduce methane emissions. I wish all MAGAs could just breathe methane for a 24-hour period. Okay, Oklahoma, God, the lead state in this effort, plus 23 other states, all Republican-run, ask SCOTUS to pause an EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, regulation on oil and gas drilling that would reduce methane leaks and emissions. They want this regulation to pause. In the filing, the state said that the Biden administration's attack on the oil and gas industry is no surprise. They don't like the oil and gas industry. I added that on myself. They claimed it was an attack on the oil and gas industry. I've attacked the oil and gas industry many times on this show. They knew way back in the late 60s that if all of this oil that they're drilling up, ExxonMobil, Chevron, BP, British Petroleum, all of those, if they drilled it all up, sold it to the auto industry or power plants, and it all got burned, which is the idea, that CO2 emissions would go up into the atmosphere along with methane and warm up the atmosphere on Earth and be climate changing. They knew this, those evil bastards. Okay, where was I? I'm riffing. Okay, and they're whiners. They just want their profits. Good news. Amit Elor, I think I've mentioned her already, gold medalist in girls wrestling. She's from Walnut Creek and is becoming an internet star and has quite a following for her posts. Okay. The orange sociopathic bloat bag thinks he's already won the election due to him saying, and this is a quote from him. Okay. This is a quote at one of his rallies. Don't worry about the election. It's been taken care of. Enough election laws in swing states have been changed to favor GOP candidates, and enough orange sociopathic bloat bag loyalists have been infiltrated into state election boards that, should Harris win, they won't certify the results. Harris will win. The MAGAs want the election to be thrown to Congress, where each state will have one vote. Egad. And there are more GOP-run states than Democratic-run states, unfortunately. We've been through this before in the 2020 election. Okay, good news to end the show. 17,608 WNBA fans crammed into State Farm Arena to watch the Atlanta Dream versus the Indiana Fever with Caitlin Clark. Women's sports is on the rise. They have risen. Caitlin Clark is getting to be a megastar. Go women's sports. I was coaching wrestling back in 1972 when Title IX came out, and I'll go into that a little bit later on a future show, but it wasn't pretty, all those pissed off PE teachers. Okay, the last thing. The Arabian Oryx, Oryx, is bouncing back from extinction in the wild. Today, there are 1,220 Arabian oryxes in the wild and 6,000 in capacity. Thank you, Saudi Arabia. The Arabian oryx used to be roaming wild all the way from Egypt and Sudan to Yemen and the Arabian Peninsula up into what's now Iraq and the border with Iran. But they're back. They're back. That's very good news to end the show on. Oh, here's my play out music. You have been listening to The Midnight Skeptic on KPCA LP, Petaluma, California. And we're at 103.3 on the FM dial and worldwide at www.kpca.fm. Support community radio at patreon.com/Petaluma Community Access. And remember, think critically, think logically, but live joyously, and most importantly, pet your cats. Especially pet your cats. And if you got a few bucks lying around, just donate it to Patreon and designate Petaluma Community Access. This picture on my t-shirt is the one-room schoolhouse that was built 125 years ago, and this was about 10 years ago that I attended the birthday party. It's where I went at the new part of the school that they built. But, okay, so that's the end of the Midnight Skeptic show for this week. I'll see you again in the first week in September. Bye-bye. I'll be more organized.